Everyone put on your game face. Readers, welcome to Book Launch, the best thing to happen to Tuesdays since tacos. I'm Kelly Lynn Colby, editorial director at Cursed Dragon Ship Publishing, and tonight we have the launch of Lunacy, the third book in the Moonlight in Glenwood series. And we have the authors, Ainsley J. Frazier and Lita Hunt, with us to tell about their amazing book. And we happen to have special guests today, copy editor Ashley Chapman and the cover artist, Tina Fulton. So hang on to your boots and get ready for this excitement we have for you tonight. Welcome. I think we need to call this the podcast that could. I think so, as we're all scrambling last minute with poor Lita just trying to not die of sickness today, right? And we had Ashley and Tina were like, you want us to do what tonight? And Tina comes on and says, I don't have a camera. I'm like, you got a camera. And then, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And then poor Ainsley, we're like, how is she late? We're all here. It's her book. And then Ainsley's like, dude, there was somebody really important at the door and I couldn't come yet. So, the fact that we are here tonight and the book we're celebrating is Lunacy. I mean, this is really the most appropriate I've ever had a podcast. Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. It's like naming a cat. You named the book Lunacy. What did you expect?
Yeah. This is never name your cat Lunacy. Got it. I love it. Well, let me read the back cover copy first, so that the audience can get a little glimpse of what we're in for. And then we're going to talk about the series, I guess, because I'm assuming it's more appropriate to read the first two books before you get to this one. Yes?
Yes.
Yes, exactly. All right, so let me read the back cover copy. After the upheaval of the last few months, Evie and Leica, I guess I should have asked how to pronounce them. Is that correct? Leica. Or is it Leica?
Evie and Leica.
It is Leica, okay. After the upheaval of the last few months, Evie and Leica try to settle back into their regular lives. However, new jobs, new relationships, and a growing need for better gear make finding a comfortable pattern impossible. Tossing going back to school and the Nightclaw Pack is at its breaking point. When a spree of maulings rips a bloody path across Los Angeles and Glenwood, there are no suspects in sight and too many victims for just one werewolf. Poised for a chance to really break into the big leagues of moonlighting, Evie and Leica are on the case. However, as people around them start disappearing, this spree might get personal. Can Evie and Leica find the source of the maulings before they lose their minds? Lunacy is an action-packed adventure following two strong heroines and their diverse group of friends in the supernatural world of Glenwood. Oh, I love that. That book sounds right up my alley. So, Ainsley and Lita, tell us a little bit about this Nightclaw Pack. Who are these people?
So the Nightclaw Pack is one of the domestic packs that you find in the fictional city of Glenwood, which is a suburb of Los Angeles. Nightclaw is made up primarily of Evie and Leica, and what they do for a living is they have day jobs, but they also moonlight, which means working as supernatural SWAT for the Glenwood Police Department to handle supernatural incidents. In our world, it's open supernatural. About 50 years ago, all the supernaturals stepped out of the shadows to stop a global collapse. And for that, in the United States, they were given citizenship. They became part of the normal day. That happened 50 years ago. A generation has passed, and now it's just commonplace. Everyone knows werewolves, vampires, witches exist. It's just commonplace. But what do you do when two werewolves get in a domestic dispute? Do you send in a human officer to deal with that, or do you send in a werewolf to deal with that? So the police departments have basically contractors that come in called moonlighters that deal with supernatural problems rather than expecting the police to know everything about magic or other supernatural things.
Interesting. You mean different parts of the police that like have specialties? I kind of like that a lot. So I'm wondering, in this world that you've created, what's the percentage of supernatural compared to mundane humans?
You remember percentages?
We did the math. I believe it's 1 to 2% at most, and of course that's divided among all the supernaturals.
Right.
So even less.
Gotcha. Gotcha. No, that makes sense. I was trying to picture the world, right? So we know exactly what we're looking at. That makes perfect sense. I love it. So we know they're there, as we always have anyways, right? I mean, we've known. We
Exactly.
know, right? So let's see, Tina, as the cover artist, how much of this did you go with and how much were you like under strict orders?
Oh.
I love that question. That's such a fun question. I First off, I love working with Ainsley and Lita. I've worked with them plenty of times before. I like to think I have a general idea well, they give me so much good instruction in terms of their experience in directing artists. So they give very good storyboards, they give very good visual boards so that there's a much better understanding of what direction I need to go. And then they also give me a bit of freedom. So it's kind of a fun balance between this is what we're thinking and so just roll with it and I'll come up with a bunch of sketches and send it over to them. And a lot of the times they're super sweet and they're like, we love this one, do this one. It's like, hey, let's go. So working with them is phenomenal. They have a wonderful balance, which is very rare to find, between here's our art boards that have plenty of information, and then we're going to give you the freedom to kind of do something. So it's just this fun, super balance between they know what they're doing, and I hope they have the confidence in me where it's like I'm gonna try to come up with something fun. We're gonna see, but they're definitely not shy to be like, hey, look at this thing. We like this thing. It's like, can you do this thing? It's like, yeah, sure, let's go. So working with them is great. I love every bit of art with them. It's kind of a fun collaboration.
I love it. Well, it is stunning and a very compelling cover. So nice group effort.
It is shocking to hear you say that because I kind of feel like you do all of the work in this relationship when it comes.
Trust me, I have enough experience to know where I get some people where it's like, hey, make a thing. And it's like, do you have anything else for me? Do you have an idea? Nope. And then I come back on, well, I was thinking. It's like, oh no.
When you hear the words, well, I was thinking, everything's about
as
to go
soon
to
as
crap.
that comes out, I was actually thinking. It's like, you didn't tell me what you were thinking.
Okay, and in that fairness then, to our credit, if it wasn't important enough to say it the first time, it probably wasn't important. And therefore, the little details we can move on. If it was important, we would have told you on the first draft that we
And
needed
that's
it.
why I love you both. That's why I love it.
We've done that as the shorts.
The shorts, those that we did come back and say, hey, can you change these pants to shorts?
Yes. Which that's what I love. I love getting the feedback. I love getting direct feedback where it's understandable. Trust me, I've had every level of this has dinosaur arms where it's like they didn't like the foreshortening. That's what they meant by dinosaur arm. They didn't like this. They wanted it like this.
Oh,
you guys are very direct and I love it. That's such a hard thing to find. So working with them both is phenomenal in terms of doing the cover stuff. And a lot of the times they get so hyped, it gets me hyped. And then it's just hype back and forth and it's just fun energy.
I love it. I love it. So tell us who's on the cover. Ainsley, Lita. Okay. Yeah. Who's on the cover?
This book we're looking at, Lunacy. The cover is Laika and Evie. Laika is the forefront in all of the gear, and Evie is the slightly to the side in the sparkly orange shorts. That'd be her. And the various werewolves around are slightly unnamed scary werewolves. They do all show up, but they're not specific characters in the book.
Gotcha. So it's for atmosphere, which is perfect because that is why it's one of those things as a publisher myself, right? That we have to tell authors, which they don't always understand, is that this front cover is not to tell your story. This front cover is marketing. so really well done. It's nice. I love it.
It's so funny. So the first board of covers that Tina gave us, this was on it. This cover was on that board. We picked a different one for Moonburn, and we love that one. It's perfect for Moonburn, which is our first book. But we saw this one, and I looked at Lita, and I was like, well, that's the Lunacy cover. But we know where book 3 is going. Like, we had a decent plan when we started. Like, that is a cover for Lunacy, and We just keep. I think we're going to use everything on that original launch of covers that she gave us.
Here's book 4, and here is this short story is this one.
I can make more sketches if you guys need more specifics, but no, I love that. I do love that, where it's like, I like this one. It's like, all right, let's go. Let's do it.
Excellent. No, it's very exciting. So I quite love that cover. I can't stop looking at it. Now I do want to say, because of all of the, first, also everyone in chat, that the link, Seifa put the link in chat so you can get your copy. So that is in there. And then of course, through that link, you can get the whole series. So you need to go back to book 1. That one's in there as well. So make sure to go and get your copy of these awesome werewolves. Now this obviously features werewolves, but you have other creatures in here, right? Like, so you have vampires, you have other kind of supernatural things. And if you do, what's your spin? Like, every universe that does this kind of urban fantasy thing, they have one creature that they just have this huge spin on, or they make one up. Do you have one like that?
We have a lot like that, actually. So our books focus on 5 races. There could be more, but these are the 5 that stepped out of the shadows. So for our werewolves, we do not focus on just physical powers. We have them. We call them northern wolves. They have the enhanced strength or speed or such. But then we also have western and southern wolves. And western wolves, it falls a little more into the, I'm trying to find the right way to say it, spiritual side of that, where Evie, one of our main characters, is a western wolf, and her power is actually empathy. She has a supernatural empathy, because we all do body language, and a lot of empathetic reading is catching what people do, the micro expressions, how their body's standing. She has that jacked up to 11. It's supernatural empathy. So she's still a werewolf. She's still stronger, faster than the average human. She still turns into a wolf, and she can still turn into a big hybrid creature. But her actual main superpower is her empathy. And then southern wolves have all of the
super senses.
Super senses. They have the super hearing, the super smell, and the dark vision and things like that. And eastern wolves, they don't exist. Don't worry about them.
Oh, really? Huh? They don't exist,
yeah,
huh?
Totally.
Yeah, totally.
Don't worry about them.
Yeah,
we have those. So we actually have 3 different types of werewolves. They're all werewolves. They all have things that they have in common. They all turn into wolves. They all can become hybrids, but they have different powers and specializations. And for our vampires, I won't talk about all of them, but we actually have 9 different types of vampires. So there's based on lots of different myths that you would run into. In our first book, Moonburn, we run into a vampire called Peony, and they're like the giant vampire monsters of legend that you would find with all the teeth and the claws. Is it Nosferatu is the word I'm looking for?
Yeah.
They're very Nosferatu. But then we have other ones that have magic, other ones that turn into bats, other ones that are daywalkers, more like psychic vampires. So we have 9 different types of vampires. Our witches we have about 5 different types of 5 witches, and then their main power source is based on what color of witch they are. So there's black witches, white witches, gray witches, green witches, and they all have different specializations and powers they do based on the type of witch. We have a ton of elven bloodlines, and again, your bloodline determines your power. And for dwarves, what we actually did there is dwarves' powers are craft. What's a craft? Oh, whatever they make it to be. So we have a dwarf whose craft is glass, so he can just magically shape things out of glass. We also have a dwarf whose craft is houses, so he can build houses and shape them and do what he needs to. So it's a supernatural ability with a craft. But your
in
craft
this market, that's the richest dwarf.
Yeah. In this market, he's super rich.
Yeah, uber. Yeah.
So we took the classic monsters. We didn't go contemporary. We took the classic monsters and we put a little spin on each of them to bring them into this world. And again, we're playing with an open world rather than a closed world. So we get to use all these powers in the open.
So, that brings me to Ashley over here, Ashley Chapman, as your copy editor. I'm seeing a lot of stuff you have to keep track of here. Like, do you ever have to call them out going, no, hold on now? this is the wrong wolf. Should be a Western wolf with the way you did. Like, do you, what do you like have to do to keep them in line? Or their books actually like 5,000 words long because there's so much awesome world building, which I love, by the way. And they're like, yeah, but what happened to the characters? What's going on here? Like, what's your biggest challenge with a world that size?
I think the biggest challenge for me is when they introduce a new power or something and they didn't tell me that it existed. And then I have to go back and be like, okay, but this has technically existed in this entire book, and I just found out about it on chapter 27. And so I have to go back and make sure that this is consistent from the beginning because it's been there. And but it's okay. I love them.
Look, man, you can love people and still be frustrated sometimes. I feel that. And, just since everything was crazy earlier and we actually had Tina and Ashley on first before we had the authors. So, there might have been some talking we did. And I want you to know that Ashley confessed that one of you likes commas a lot. And one of you, doesn't use them ever. So I'm wondering, do you even know which one is which?
We do.
Lita, Ansley, do you?
We do.
Okay, confess. I want to hear.
I approach commas like you approach garlic and cooking. Never enough.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm a little torn by that statement because sometimes Lita.
And I supposedly do not use enough commas at any point in time. And then Ashley has to find a compromise between us.
Lita's trying to prevent vampires, and Ainsley isn't.
I tease them that I just take all of Lita's extra commas and throw them in Ainsley's section.
Spread the garlic evenly.
Yes. Otherwise, we're going to have toast on one half and garlic toast on the other half.
And it'll be spicy because there's so much garlic.
Yes. Very spicy.
I changed what I said. Instead of having a comma shirt, Lita needs a garlic shirt.
That's right. Can't have too much garlic. And Ainsley has one that says, yes, you can.
All the cloves are commas.
That's right. They just, do that.
Oh, that's perfect.
Supposedly we have an artist on here, right, Tina? So I'm sure.
Oh, I'm already sketching it out. I'm already making a note.
Yes.
I've got it.
I love it. Well, I heard Lita and Ainsley, and then Ashley, too, is going to be at Superstars next week. So I'm wondering what kind of effect had conventions like that had on your writing and your writing process?
Ooh, the first Superstar. So our first Superstars was last year. We went to it. Lou Agresta, I knew him from the RPG world. We did lots of stuff there together. And then I hit him up because he's the only person I knew personally who published a book. Said, hey, Lou. And he's like, come to Superstars. So I was like, Lita, we're doing this thing because Lou said so. And he's never steered us wrong before. And she's like, okay. So we went, and apologies, Lita's a little socially anxious. So we were like, I have no idea how this is going to go. Turns out it was a non-issue. I've never seen her so unsocially anxious in a crowd in my life. So chill the whole time. It was crazy. I was like, are you okay? She's like, yeah, I'm fine.
She's like, I'm great, actually. This is kind of nice.
So last Superstars was our first Superstars. And it was literally transformative to the way that we write, the things that we did. We did all of our skills day together. And we did one called Reverse Engineering a Mystery. And then the next one we did was How to Write Endings That Don't Suck.
Strike that and reverse it.
Okay. Either way, we went to both of those. It literally changed the way we approached the ending to a book. The promises we were putting in the book. It changed the way that we wrote a mystery as well. And Moonburn and Corrupted Moons, which one goes directly into the other, like their whole story arc together. it would probably have been written a little differently had they not already been published. Right? For what we learned there. So we took all of that and we put it in Lunacy. And we did, what was it, like the top 10 mistakes to watch out for when you're editing from Joshua Essos?
Yeah.
That was like also a big transformative one. We did so many things. The fire hose.
It is.
Wonderful, wonderful hydrating fire hose. But yeah, the things we learned there.
It's in Colorado. They have no water, no oxygen, no anything in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like literally transformative for us. And then we left, and the first thing we did was sign up for this year. And the second thing we did is what, Ashley, we know you're trying to write your own book, and we know you're trying to get published, and of course we're going to help you when you get to that point, because we made that point, but you're coming to this with us. Like, you have to come to this with us. So she's coming with us this year. Because we were like, we know everything's going on. So we bought her ticket when we bought ours, and we were like, you're coming, end of story.
Ashley, if you need help, blink twice.
And then
show me
I it up pretty much. Like, it was just things we didn't know.
Yeah, things we didn't know. We have a mailing list now. We're not utilizing Professor Ability, but we have a mailing list and
We've made it to Newsletter Ninja. We're going to be better.
Yep.
Book Funnel's amazing.
Book Funnel's amazing.
Book Funnel is a thank you, Damon Courtney. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I do so my day job, or I guess my real job, is software. I do software. I'm pretty good at it. And I go on Book Funnel versus like other sites, and I'm like, this was made by an engineer. This was clearly made by an engineer, because all of these things work. They're so consistent. It's not a struggle. I love this.
Yeah, but it's so user friendly. So it's not just engineer, right? A lot of times engineers don't understand how like other people's brains work, right? That's why we said an engineer should never be making like, the GUI, right? Like, we need people, like regular people, trying to make that and translate with the engineer. We need someone who could talk in between. But Damon does it, man. Like, his stuff is so easy to use. Highly recommend Book Funnel for sure.
Book Funnel has been completely worth it. We learned about Draft Digital, so I don't need to maintain like 6 different accounts in places to get books up. That was great. So like, yeah, we learned a ton of things that we didn't know. And, like at this point, we're actually starting to like kick off our marketing, and now we're going to go and get those skills reinforced when we're really prepared for them, which we weren't necessarily last year.
Right. Yeah. You've got book 3 out. So now it's time for read through. Yep. You've got it. You got it. I love it. Perfect. Okay, so this series, is this the end of this series? Is there a lot more? Are you gonna like what is book 3 like how long is this going to be, or is this like a continuing thing?
We have a lot more planned. Like we have a full fleshed out like storyline that's planned. Obviously it's going to have to evolve, because no plan survives first contact with the enemy, which in this case is just the page.
And same.
Yeah.
That blank screen is the enemy.
It'll change as we go, but we do have...
We're working on 4 and 5 right now.
Yeah, we're working on 4 and 5 right now. We know where those are going. We have all the story beats in place. We just have to actually write it at this point. And then we know what the story arc after that's going to be as well. So...
how do you two write? Like, do you sit down and outline and each one takes a chapter? Does someone have a different point of view? Like, how do you do that together?
We found out that we're kind of weird in this way, is that we write over top each other in a Google Doc. So one of us will start a chapter and the other will be going behind, and then we'll just trade off. And yeah, she's a pantser, I'm a plotter, so we find a middle ground
in between it. She forces me to do a timeline, so we do a timeline.
You force me to break that timeline.
I force you to break it constantly. But no, she's correct. It's how we work. Ashley is the only person we know who can actually tell our writing apart when we write together. But I have a style when I'm on my own. She has a style when she's on her own. They're completely different from each other. But when we come together, it's a third entirely different style that we are using when we write together. And it's just, what's my favorite saying with this is, get out of my brain. We are just so on vibe about this the whole way down. where it'll be like, we'll hit a problem, and whoever's writing ahead will stop and go, okay, here's the problem. And then at the same time, or within seconds, like, well, what if we do X? Then I'll be like, get out of my brain, because it's literally what I just thought of. So it's just how we work. It's how we've always worked. We both write in everyone's point of view, and we both write in every chapter. And whoever's got hot hands can race ahead, and the other person will come behind, filling out things, cleaning up things, being like, okay, this is a lovely scene, but now let's talk about what the scene looks like, not just what they said. And we have things that we're stronger at. I'm a little stronger at dialogue. She's a little stronger at scene building in general, like the atmosphere of what's going on. And it comes together in the end. And as I said, only Ashley's ever been able to tell it apart. And someone sits and reads, like, you can't tell Ainsley wrote this chapter and Lita wrote this chapter unless you're Ashley.
She'll be able to tell, well, Ainsley started the sentence, but clearly Lita ended the sentence, usually based on commas.
And then Ainsley went back through and deleted all the commas.
It has happened.
I love it. So, artwork. We like to make like trading cards of our characters. So if you were going to make trading cards of these characters, so I'm going to start, Tina, I'm assuming you know these characters as well, right? I didn't ask even if you had a chance to read the series, have you?
I have started. I haven't finished, shamefully.
That's not shamefully. No, this is
started.
very typical of cover artists. I'm always impressed how cover artists can so well represent the book, even though they haven't read it. That is perfectly okay. But I'm wondering, so based on what you have read, and then I want answers from everyone, who would you make the first trading card about? Which character?
I'm sorry, Ainsley Lita, but I have a love for Leica, the high energy. I just love high energy characters. So it would definitely be, I'm sorry, Leica. So yeah, that would probably be the first one, just because the full blown let's go. Mm-hmm. I'm all for it. I'm 100% for it. I can't help it.
Like, sign me up.
Like, I love them both. They balance each other so well, but there's just something about the chaos.
Actually, you can make really fun trading cards too, because you can have the front half like their human shape and the back half their werewolf shape. I mean, this could be really fun. I like that.
And that's the best part, to be honest. If I could go full blown, it would just all be werewolves. Let's go monsters. I'm all of them.
What did you decide? Yeah,
let's just do all werewolves. Let's do it. Like, I love it when they were like, we want more werewolves. It's like, yes. You're like, do it. Do a big werewolf head. Yes.
I love it. So, Ashley, which character?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, Ashley, which character would you like to make a trading card out of?
You know them all.
That is a good question. I feel like Alfred is the low-hanging fruit here. But
so who's Alfred?
He's the vampire love interest / I don't know how many details I should give away of Leica.
Ash is thinking of a nice, like, picture.
And are these trading cards like they have information about the characters, or are these just like artsy ones?
Well, both, right? They're trading cards. You have to have information about the characters too. That's what makes them fun. Otherwise, it's just like postcards with art. So, like, normally in trading cards, you'll have like the art and like a quote from the character, and then some cool statistics that really set the feel. Just like it's marketing, right? Just like these. So you'd want to think of something that, some line for them, something that really says something cool about them. Like always put stitches in the dishwasher. I mean, that's very romantic if you ask me. So, that could be on the back of the love interest.
Can we make some trading cards with like the extra snacks that wind up on their tables? Can we make like some bonus energy that's just snack foods?
That would be perfect. On the back of each one, special snack food. That could be actually very interesting with vampires, quite frankly.
It's true. Well, my real answer then would probably be Tor and Shelley, because then you would be forced to give me actual details about them.
Oh, we have characters you want to know more about, do we?
Yes, they're the roommates that don't show up nearly as much as I would like them to sometimes, but
Well, there's a couple more books coming, so who knows?
There is plenty more coming.
Mm-hmm. They might need
these
help
two are
from
always
special
like,
police
"Oh,
people.
Spoiler.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
Yeah, the roommates don't really do the SWAT thing.
No, but they might need help. That's what I mean. See, they might need
True.
help. Who knows?
I
Yeah.
mean, you should probably read book 3 on that vein.
Ooh. I love it. So, Lita, who would you choose?
Tina and Ash stole my answers, so let's go with my third answer. I would go with our favorite police officer, Owen.
Ooh.
Owen's pretty great.
Yeah, we haven't talked about the human police officer very much. So, how does Owen fit in with the story? Like, what does he do? How does he like bridge the gap?
So, kind of how it works in the world, supernaturals aren't allowed to work directly for the police.
Okay.
So, they have liaisons, handlers who handle the actual, like, keeping them within the lines of the law and stuff, which would be our 2 cops, Owen and Aaron, who handle it. Owen is human adjacent, but not really supernatural. That probably just complicated things. You take over.
Yeah. Apparently, we need to read these books. Yeah.
So in our world, werewolves have existed for a long time, and werewolf bloodlines have evolved to better accommodate being a werewolf, like turning into a wolf. Those that are born of those families but never turn, we call them wolfkin. They're no more magical than a human. They're like the equivalent of someone who goes to the gym every day. You know, they're teeny tiny bit more durable than a human because they're just evolved to be a tiny bit more durable than a human. But they are human in every capacity. They have no ability to turn into a wolf or a hybrid, no superpowers at all, and we call them wolfkin. One of our wolfkin is one of the liaisons that works for the police.
That's fascinating. I love your world building. It's so cool. I'm impressed that you did so much world building and then actually also wrote the books, right? Because you could get lost in that forever.
Yeah. Okay.
Forever. So, Ainsley, who would you like to make a trading card out of?
I mean, I can go for Evie. No one's at Evie.
Ooh. Oh, poor Evie.
Poor Evie. Good. No, Evie would be a good trading card as well. Evie is sassy, and I do like how sassy she is.
I mean, she's wearing orange shorts.
So it's got to have her sparkly pants.
Mm-hmm.
In a world where there is magic, the clothes that transform with you as you turn into a wolf, small or large, are going to be extremely expensive. Extremely expensive.
Yeah.
So the best alternative is stripper clothing. It all has snaps along the side. It pops off. It doesn't rip. And then you can retrieve it later when you need it. So she has...
pop it right back together. Uh-huh.
Exactly. Sparkly orange stripper clothing. She's not a stripper. She just happens to shop at the same place for her shifting clothing.
Can we have Evie Shorts as its own trading card? I want the sparkly orange shorts as its own.
I see marketing opportunities. It's just such clever world building. I am so impressed with what you've done. So this one you have, so apparently werewolves are like a lot in this, right? So, and the other characters, so somehow, how long are these books? Are they like 200,000 words long? Like, how do you get all of that in there?
I make them break them up.
This is why it's 3 books and not 1. That's what Ashley said.
Yes. Well, yeah, 3 instead of 2. It could have been 4, but I was nice on book 3.
They figure if you make it to book 3, you'll sit through the slightly longer book.
It's not wrong. No, that's not wrong. Yeah.
Moonburn and Corrupted Moons were originally 1 book. And then we talked to Lou before we got Ashley on board. We talked to Lou, and Lou goes, "Well, I have good news and bad news. The bad news is it's too long. The good news is you have 2 books." Because of how long it was. He's like, "You have 2 books." And then Ashley got involved, and we're going back and forth. We're like, "Where do we split this?" And then Ashley goes, "Why don't you just split it in the middle, right here at the obvious cliffhanger?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that'll work." But then obviously we had to do some work. Like that chapter had to become a proper conclusion.
Proper ending, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. we had to do some work to reestablish things and add some other chapters at the start of Corrupted Moons to just reestablish some baselines, because it's still a new series. You're not going to remember everything, and we can't guarantee that you're going to go directly from Moonburn to Corrupted Moons right away.
Right.
So just enough to get your brain thinking again and to bring you back into the story. And, you know, I think we added like one more chapter to Moonburn to help finish it off as well. So there, it ended up slightly longer than the original one book, but two separate books. Moonburn's a little bit longer. I can't remember. I think it's like 150.
No, I think
Perfectly. That's perfectly reasonable size for a urban fantasy. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think so. I love books like this. And as you can tell, we have like in-depth world building that we're trying to like set forward, and we're going to build a believable world if these creatures were everyday things.
Yep. Which means you've got a lot of world building to do. Yeah. So no, it's very impressive. I love it. So who is this series for? Like, who do you think are your ideal readers? Who will just eat this series up?
So we think women, obviously. Like we're presenting strong female characters, and not just, oh, I have magic, so I'm powerful. Like strong female characters that do physical things. We found our sweet spot in like age is like 25 to 45. They seem to enjoy it the most. Not saying you don't enjoy it younger or older, or
right.
When we go to cons, we sell mostly to men. Like when we go to cons, we send so many books to men, probably because they wouldn't, if they saw it online, they wouldn't buy it, but they're like, impulse, I'm going to take this. We find that's it. And as far as like the type of person, if you enjoy urban fantasy, then you're probably going to enjoy this. Anyone who's like already a fan of urban fantasy that picks these up, we hear, I loved this. This is in the vein of what I like. If you like urban fantasy, you're going to like it. We hear from people who read lots of stuff. If you liked October Day or Kim Harris's The Hollows or Mercy Thomas.
Love Kim Harrison.
Oh, she's one of my favorites. Then you're going to like this because it's very much in their vibe of how they write heroines and how they send people to do like jobs. Because we're building competent female characters who go out and do things, and they're trying to have healthy relationships with everyone around them. Don't get me wrong, I love paranormal romance. I absolutely love paranormal romance. I'm just well aware that many of the stories we read are exceptionally unhealthy, like relationships between people.
And there's a reason why it's a different genre for sure. So yeah.
Exactly. So that's kind of the audience that we're going for. As far as like more than that, all types of women have told us they like it, from moms with lots of kids to single ladies to, you know, career professionals to stay-at-home moms. Like we've heard it all. There's not like that one, it's like this is the thing. And it's just like good female role models is kind of.
I should ask, how spicy is it?
It's not spicy. We have romance. We totally have romance.
Yep.
But it's not spicy, and that is one of the questions we get asked a lot.
Yep. That's why and everyone wants to know. So yeah, that's a good thing for people to know.
Yes, no, they're not spicy books. There's no sex.
What's the word that we see, like light steam?
Yeah, they got some steam going on, but everything is like fade to black. If there is anything, it's going to be fade to black. We're not going to have any of that in our series. We enjoy reading those things, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's what we're writing.
We also have far too many like friends of the family who buy these for their teenage daughters.
Yeah, that happens a lot too. We'll have like, oh, I'm buying these for my teenage daughter. And I'm like, she's 16. She might not vibe with these people trying to pay their bills, but at least they don't have to worry about them reading a sex scene and you getting mad at me. So I guess that works too.
Yeah. And you'd be surprised how much teens do worry about people paying bills, so you're actually fine. Excellent. Well, I am so excited. Congratulations for this release. Tina, please let us know where people can find you if they are looking for a cover artist.
Oh, yeah, sure, definitely. Would it be easier to send it to you or just say
Nope, just tell us what it is right now. Where can they find you? What's your website?
My website, well, I don't have a specific one, but you can find me at Tinasaurus Art on Twitter. It's exactly how it sounds, just Tina, Saurus, like the dinosaur, and art. So you can contact me through there. I'm tfcommissions@gmail.com. You can find me through there. I'm on ArtStation, but if you go to my X, I guess it's no longer Twitter.
I know it's hard to say X, though. I'm with you. Yeah.
I know. But if you find me on Twitter, you can find me anywhere. I've got everything linked on there.
Perfect. Excellent. And then Ashley Chapman, if someone's looking for an editor, where can people find you?
My website is ashleychapmanedits.com, or you can get me at editorkex@gmail.com.
Okay. And you copyright for Lita and Ainsley. Do you do any other kind of editing?
I've mostly done copy editing. I do a little bit of dev editing, but that's not my specialty.
Okay, no problem. Specialties are the way to go. So copy editing, excellent. You always need to get a copy editor. And Lita and Ainsley, where can people find you and your work?
So we have our little publishing company. So you can find us at wolfandrose.net. That's where you can find like the thing that takes you to everything. But otherwise, we're really active on Instagram at Wolf and Rose Books. Yeah. Wolf and Rose Books. You'll find us there. And we post lots of stuff up. We have all of our world building. We write it down and put it on there. Look, it's a wonderful little library for us to go back to. The things we said are true. And we're very active on Discord. So if you go to any of those places, if you want to just come hang out with us, we have a server, come chill. We do fun things in there. They get lots of spoilers.
Nice. Yeah. So go to the website, join Discord. And if you want to join our Discord, you can hit bang Discord in there and come see Cursed Dragon Ships as well. And you can find us here on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Central with more awesome book launches for your TBR pile, which keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think that's all for this evening. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next week.